Welcome to the seventh episode. I guess technically this would be the 15th episode of the Chosen Companion series. Tonight we're covering season 2, episode 7. I am Mike from Showboys, and I'm joined as always by my good friend and fellow podcaster and musician and rocket scientist and web developer and cabinet seller extraordinaire, James from the nerdybible.com. How are you today?
Good. I guess that's me. And it's our 16th episode.
16th?
Yeah, we started at 0.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's
true.
true.
Your confusion.
That's
but yeah,
true.
dude, I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. I trimmed the beard today. I feel like a new man. I think I lost 3 pounds of facial hair, so I feel free.
Mhm.
Just watched a great episode. Now I'm
Of what?
recording The Chosen, I think it's what it's called.
That's good.
We got some good news like over the weekend. So we're recording this on, what is it, the 5th?
I don't know.
It's December 5th.
December 5th.
We just found out that season 3 is hitting the streaming services. I think right now it's just Angel Studios app.
Yeah, it's usually how it does it.
December 11th. So Sunday for us. For you in the future, it's already happened. And I hope you enjoyed season 3,
and I think at this
1.
point we're starting to diverge of our release weeks. I think at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna get a little crazy.
But we'll catch up here pretty quick because I don't think,
Yeah.
Well, eventually we're gonna catch up and be done with season 3 anyway.
Eventually, it's inevitable. It's inedible.
Very true. It's very true.
Oh man. Yeah. So my wife and I watched this episode tonight, season 2, episode 7, called Reckoning. We watched it on the freshly downloaded Angel Studios app on our Roku TV. And we downloaded
Is
it
it the
in
new app?
preparation.
Because that's what they announced.
It's new
too.
to me.
Well,
it's new to me.
That was one of the first things they announced, is that the new app was coming out. So their URL is new.thechosen.
Oh, nice.
No, it's actually, I would say, app wise, like it's a pretty decent upgrade. So if you already had the app, you just, like on your phone, for example, I think you just open up the old one and it updates. But it's like, it's nice.
Nice. Yeah. I don't use it on the phone. I use we watched all of The Chosen on BYU TV app on Roku, and when we're doing these recaps and talking about the episodes, that's what I'm playing it on my second monitor, on byutv.org.
Mm-hmm.
But in preparation for season 3, because they're releasing initially only on the Angel Studios or Chosen app, got the Angel Studios app on the TV upstairs and opened it up, and the app looks like, it's like you said, looks really nice. It's pretty intuitive. That was the word I was looking for. Turned on the episode, and I was telling you before we started recording, was treated to a really nice ad for an animated David theatrical release that they're crowdfunding for.
Yeah.
And they played, like, I want to say it was close to 5 minutes, like a 5-minute short, and then they went into like the creators talking, giving their pitch, right? But the short was really good. My wife and I were like really invested in what was happening, and man, I gotta say, the quality, I mean, just, I don't know what they're doing, where they're getting these people from that are creating for Angel Studios, but like, this is some top shelf quality stuff, this little short, which makes me excited. They're moving along towards their goal. They still got a long way to go, but apparently the creators of this David film, they've done a YouTube series called like the Jungle something or other. It's not the Jungle Book. Okay, don't make out there. You guys listening to me out there, it's like Jungle Beat or something. I forget. I should have wrote that down, but
Jungle
very
Beat. It's
very
on.
successful YouTube channel. They've got like millions of subscribers. They had a movie on Netflix. They're releasing or in the process of production of the second Jungle Beat movie. So that was interesting. Caught my attention.
It's Jungle Beat. It's on their app.
So that was really, really cool. We watched the episode, and then, like I was telling you again, I've been getting ads on Facebook for this other animated Christian production that is on Angel Studios called The Wing Feather Saga. And again, another thing aimed towards kids, but watched the trailer for it after we watched the episode, and I again was blown away at the quality of this animation. Like, dude, gorgeous. Like, the animation is absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't tell you. I just watched the trailer. The story looks interesting. Haven't seen an episode. It's a series. So I couldn't tell you how the story is, how the writing is, how all that is, but like just visually, holy crap. So yeah, I don't know. It's just the level of quality of Christian media coming out of Angel Studios is just mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. Better than VeggieTales.
Yeah, a little better than VeggieTales, and yeah, come a long way. But anyways, let's get into episode 7. Again, like we were talking about earlier, I don't think this episode of the podcast should be too long. I mean, there was a lot that happened, but like not a lot of like really crazy like theological things that like racked my brain while I was watching it, where I was like, oh wow, that's like one of those questions, that one of those great mysteries of our faith or anything. But there
I'm sure we can make it real long.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I say that this will be the longest episode yet. But yeah, here we go. After learning of Jesus's whereabouts from Atticus Aemilius, Quintus sends Gaius to arrest him. As the group prepares for Jesus's upcoming big sermon, Andrew worries bad things will happen. Shmuel returns to Capernaum with Yanni and asks Yusuf about Tamar. Gaius detains Jesus, and Jesus peacefully surrenders. The disciples lose control as they argue about how to respond. And Jotapata, I probably didn't say that right, while seeking information about where Jesus has been taken, Andrew, alongside Philip, encounters Tamar and her healed paralytic friend Ethan, who offer testimonies of the miracle. Quintus meets Jesus and questions him concerning his deeds and actions. Seeing that he poses no threat, Quintus releases Jesus with a stern warning. Madai and Lamech come across Shmuel and Yanni and Jotapata, and they inform them about Jesus. Andrew tells Tamar and Ethan to be silent, supported by a disguised Yusuf to warn them of Shmuel. Later that night, Jesus returns to his disciples, who are anxious for him. Afterwards, they ask him how to pray, and Jesus teaches them a prayer. The prayer. We're gonna put, we're gonna go Ohio State Buckeyes here with this prayer. That is the prayer. That if you are an atheist, agnostic, whatever, like everyone knows this prayer. But yes, so there's the episode synopsis there. Initial thoughts. What do you think, James?
I mean, it's a very straightforward episode.
Oh no, I was talking about my reading.
Oh, you're reading?
No, I'm just
okay. You did pretty good. Good job.
Thanks, thank you.
Golf clap.
Appreciate it.
No, it's a pretty good episode. I like the some of the conversations later with Jesus as he is talking to Quintus.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
No, I think it's a very just good episode. Just it's not like there's nothing monumental that happens, but it's like it's like setting things up. It's like it's like so it's not it's not like like you said, monumental, but there's like good things in it. So it's not
Mhm.
like bad either. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a very basic kind of fill in the plot, keeping it moving along,
Mhm.
putting the canoe in the river.
Yeah. It's
Like
one of
it's
those required table setting
yeah,
episodes. Like
but
you're
it's
they're preparing the feast of the finale next
mhm,
episode. Um,
yep.
good stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's like a super metric ton of like in-depth
Yeah.
things to like really
What
ponder about.
what
But
do you think about this? So it starts out with Atticus is the I
yeah,
think his name is
old apple eating Atticus, he's back.
I don't know who how didn't we compare him to somebody in like the federal government, like of like who what he remind what did we compare him to?
Yeah.
Uh
I was telling Beck, he to me seems like by the way, Beck's my wife. If you've never heard me talk about Beck, Beck's my wife. So if you hear me say that throughout the episode tonight, that's who I'm talking about. But I was telling Beck, I was like, yeah, he's like the Roman CIA. Like,
yeah, CIA
um,
or I would say like that IRS guy is just kind of following around like ready to audit at any given
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like, he has a badge. It's like
yeah,
a federal badge, but I wonder if there's like an IRS agent listening to this that's about to audit
yeah.
me or
They're
something.
just flipping tables because you're getting it so wrong.
No,
Yeah,
but so no, but like, what do you think of Atticus? So, like, what do you? Because
I
he just
I love his character. Like,
it's good that he's sitting there leaning up against something, eating an apple. No,
persimmon,
persimmon.
persimmon.
Yep.
Yes, yes. Uh, no, I enjoy his character. Like, um, he almost like I didn't think this much about him first viewing. Like
Hmm.
I've talked about at least personally about like the majority of every episode we've covered. I didn't think much about that in well, the first time I watched it, but this time, um, but no, like there's a specific conversation that he has with Gaius as they're on their way to arrest or
Hmm.
detain, I should say, Jesus. Um, where like he gives me some like Nicodemus vibes where he's he's seen some crazy things that he can't explain, and unlike Nicodemus, like Nicodemus was a godly scholar, right? A Pharisee, so he's like he knows of God, he follows and serves God in his way, right? And what Nicodemus saw from Jesus like shook the foundations of what he thought he believed and how he
Hmm.
structured and lived out his faith. Uh, I think similarly, Atticus has seen some crazy things, and while he's Roman, so I don't think he believes in our God, right? Because Romans didn't. Um, I think what he's seen has him like questioning things enough to be intrigued, and like he says to Gaius on that little walk, he's just kind of curious. Like he
Hmm.
wants to see more about Jesus, right? So like yes, he has a job he's doing in his like CIA IRS type role with the Romans,
Hmm.
but there's also like a vested interest personally with him where he's like he's curious. He wants to see more, learn
Yeah, yeah,
more.
yeah. Yeah. You can't fight curiosity. It's like that thing that is so compelling that it'll keep you up at night whether you want it to or not. And it
Mhm.
seems like he's just just stuck into that perception or that thought of curiosity. But also I was thinking too is that, you know, I feel like there's this perception that like he's Roman, so he doesn't
Mhm.
believe in this God. So therefore he's not like spiritual, right? And so I think that is just a bad misconception. I don't know. At least it's easy to think that is because they have so many gods. There's so many there. Doesn't mean that they're not like praying to the one. They're not praying to the one God, but they're praying to multiple.
Mhm.
So it's like they personalize it. Each one has their own
Mhm.
their own thing. So it's like, I don't know. Thinking about it, like I think it's pretty. It doesn't seem like he's phased by it. He's like, there's something about it that he can't,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and, I got the scene up here, but he says something where he's like "Yeah, it's not like I'm not scared of him. I don't think he's dangerous. I don't think his followers are dangerous." But, like, I don't know, shouldn't that, like, kind of be scary? That I don't think all these things and he's doing these signs and wonders and he's amassing this huge following, but he's, like, not threatening or scary and he's peaceful, like, shouldn't that be, like, kind of scary?
Yeah, that's what he's
I
kind of
forget
saying.
exactly, like, how he says it, but I think that is the roundabout summary of what he was saying there, but, it is interesting. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I like the actor, and I like his role in this show, like, I think he's a good character.
he is. He's You started playing D&D, so you kind of got that idea of like what they like what could categorize them. He's like this like what would you neutral kind of character, neutral like chaos. I don't know, like
Yeah, I was
he,
gonna
you know what I
say
mean? He's
neutral chaotic, like
Yeah, he's like neutral with it, and he's not. He's just I don't know. It's a very interesting character, man. I don't know what inspired them to create this character because his name. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but his name doesn't sound familiar. Like there's any, you know,
yeah, I have
people.
no idea.
So I don't know what inspired them, but like, yeah. So awesome, man. Yeah. So they're talking. They're just talking about Jesus, and here we are. Um, Flash forward intro.
Yes.
And then we're at the old beach with the crew.
Sons of Thunder and, Peter and Andrew tossing
Yeah.
rocks or, more commonly known as drawing straws to see who has to fish and who gets to go back.
Uh-huh. Man,
They're,
oh man.
man, they had some
Yeah.
questionable form in these throws as a former baseball player myself. I was like, "Oh, guys, I hope you stretched or warmed up a little bit before this scene because those throws kind of look painful."
Maybe they did so many scenes or takes at this that they were just like, I can't throw this
Yeah,
rock
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, like I love these kind of more lighthearted
mhm.
moments with the disciples where they're just being dorks.
Yeah.
Like,
And the funny thing is like, so, spoiler alert, uh, Simon and Andrew lose and they go back to Jesus. And here he is. He's like, you guys bet, didn't you? It's like, yeah, yeah. And you won? Yeah.
yeah, and
So,
then they're like, "All right, so what were you guys talking about?" And Jesus like, "You don't need to know." So like it was pointless, really. I mean, like,
uh-huh.
um, but yeah, it's while it's kind of like a fun, lighthearted moment, like you kind of see Andrew's state of mind here, though, where he's kind of like tense. He's kind of I don't know that like the annoying teacher's pet here in this moment where he's like, Jesus said we should be out here. We should all be fishing. Like, we got to listen
Mhm.
to what he says. Like, blah, 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 blah. You clearly, throughout this entire episode, Andrew is like unraveling
Oh, he is. He's
because he's,
spiraling the way.
yeah, he's still trying to deal with the John news from last episode of John's arrest and all
Yep.
that stuff. And yeah, spiraling, great word. He just by the end of this episode, the last time we see Andrew, he's like he's not in a great place.
Yeah, which is interesting because like Simon, it's odd because Simon spiraled in the beginning of the show, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's basically the first story arc was really just Simon spiraling out of control. And
Yeah.
like it was in response to, his life becoming chaotic before Jesus. And I feel like Andrew was in this kind of like he wasn't spiraling at that point because he didn't really take on that responsibility of it. Simon did. And so here
Mhm.
he is meeting Jesus, meeting John. He's in his happy little content, you know, I state. And now like things are bad happening to him. And I think he yells about yeah, he does. He yells about Mary later on, but here he is doing exactly what Mary's spiraling
Mhm.
and responding
Yeah.
in this way. And it's interesting to see it
Right.
happen to him as Simon already spiraled, but now he's like,
It's you're in a bad place when Peter is the cool head of the situation.
but but
When
they're
he's the calming
developing.
voice,
He
like
he is, but he's also like seems like that's like his new role. And he's
yeah.
playing into it, and it's good. I love the development that they're doing because it's the kind of development I kind of see of Peter. You don't go from I don't know if we get the finer details of this development throughout this, gospels, but like from our take of John, or not John, of Peter, and then the Peter that you see in Acts, like there's this clear transformation, whether we saw it individually or, explicitly, or it was just this implicit kind of thing that was kind of thrown at you. So, but yeah, no, I like it. Simon finally.
Yeah. And like I mean there is something to take from there like I mean even this morning I had a moment of Andrew from this episode play out where it's like tells Andrew here he's like you have seen Jesus do all these things like and you're still afraid that
Mhm,
like he's not going to provide or you know enter what Andrew needs or what I need. And for me it's like I'm struggling in this area that God has shown me, led me through, provided for me through like multiple times in my life.
mhm,
And I like it's one of those weird things to try to explain where like I trust, I believe, like I have faith that God will provide and continue to, or like, lead me through this situation. But then I have a moment like Andrew where I'm like, but like what I see, like what I'm in right now does not look like that. And like Andrew says on the boat, he's like, I'm just like common sense. Like if you go through and proclaim all the things Jesus has done, like the Pharisees are already mad at him, and it just will take one thing, and the Romans will be mad at him, and then they'll come arrest us. Like, use your brain. Like, maybe that's not the wisest thing to do. Or like in
mhm,
my situation where it's like, I've seen God lead me through all these things already, like this exact same thing, like multiple times, not just one time. Like I've always come out the other end in a better place. Like but in my moment this morning, I'm looking at my circumstances and my surroundings, and I'm like, yeah, but this is what is happening.
mhm,
Like, and in that moment, it's like, yeah, I just go to Andrew's moment here where I kind of like, I don't forget, but I don't even know how to describe. Like, is any of this making sense? I feel like when I get
yeah.
on these tangents, I'm just rambling
Well,
incoherently, but
no, because
it's
you're
like
just trying
not
to be.
unbelief, it's not disbelief, it's not like a
Mhm,
lack of faith, it's just looking at what is happening and being like, I guess, like, I know you will, but, like, when? Or, like, why haven't I been led through this yet? Or I don't know. Maybe that's not even the right way to describe
no, I
it.
understand. It's like you want to. There's just it's like you want to it's like your feet hit the ground and you want to you feel like you have some control over it, and that so you start like wanting to fix things or do it your own. I mean, that's what Andrew's doing. He's looking at it and
Mhm.
he's like, I mean, even later we see he's like, I'll go right now and I'll tell those
Yeah.
people, this. And like, so he's like, it's like, there's this level of I don't know. I get what you're saying. And I don't want to put words in your mouth by like answering, but like, it seems like there's always like this level of like, I can do it myself versus trust.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, not an easy thing. And I mean, even to some extent, like there's a level of trust that you have, but there's still a level of doing that you have to do.
Mhm.
Like I trust that God's going to provide, but I'm going to wake up and go to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like, so it's
yeah.
like, there's this level of like, where's that balance? And so it's not an easy balance to have. And, and I think
Yeah.
that it's always fine tuning. And as you see Andrew's probably pretty good at walking in things, but he's having a minor
Yeah.
existential crisis, and he is
Yeah.
he's digressing from where he was, but it's like he's trying to refine that balance.
Mhm.
And he will, I
Yeah.
don't know. Does that make sense?
No, no, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it does. Um, so like in this little scene of choosing who's gonna fish and who's gonna go back, like this is the beginning point for Andrew here. Um, and I don't want to go too much further without revisiting our favorite Pharisees in the PVU segment here. Victims. Shmuel and his buddy Yanni, they they
What kind of trouble are they going to get themselves into
right,
today?
exactly. Yeah, I've named this segment the PVU, the Pharisees Victims Unit, because they're one Pharisees, but two they're victims of this false prophecy that's going on. They gotta. But anyways, I'm done workshopping that title. Yeah, so they find the posters around town about, saying Jesus is wanted for questioning. They take it to the Roman officers, and kind of like a funny scene where they're like, "Hey, we know about this guy." And they're like, the Romans are like, "Okay, do tell." And they're like, "He was in this place." And they're like, "All right, how long ago? 5 days. Oh, that's old news. We're gonna be arresting him in like a couple hours." And
Yeah.
they're like, can we question him? Like, why are you arresting him? Like, we need to know if he's broken any Jewish laws." The classic, PVU stuff. So they end up heading into how do you say this town's name?
What?
Jo Jodapa? Jodapa. That's what I'll call it. Jodapa.
Jodipa? No, what is it? How is it spelled?
It's Jotapata. Jotapata. Jodapa. But they said it was very weird the way they said it in the episode. I feel like it's Jodapa. Anyways, Shmuel and Yanni, they head into Jodapa. They seek out Yusuf from their days back in Capernaum, and they're basically questioning Yusuf about Tamar, who is the Ethiopian woman who helped her paralytic friend be healed all the way back in season 1. Apparently, she's been over here in Jodapa, like just testifying what Jesus did for her friend and telling basically everyone that she can about this miracle, this healing. So Shmuel wants to go question her, which there's like so many funny things. Well, I mean, it's kind of not funny, but it kind of is funny. But like every time they bring up him wanting to question Tamara, they're like, "But she's a woman. Like her testimony's useless. Like, why do you even want to talk to her?" And like even Yusuf is like, "Why are you even pursuing this?"
Uh huh.
like you you took up this specialty in false prophecy, but it really feels like you took up a specialty in this Jesus of Nazareth. Like you're really honing in on this guy. Like maybe you should take a chill pill. Is kind of the vibe I'm getting from Yusuf here. What'd you think about them meeting Yusuf in the temple here, and kind of how the PVU plays out in the rest of the episode?
Yeah, they're just, I don't know, man. It's like every time it just doesn't even seem like he I don't know. I try to put myself in their shoes and I just like struggle so much. Just cuz it's like I'm trying to come up with a good analogy, but it's like at what point do you just let it go, man? Like,
Right.
and it's like it's just it never stops. And it's like, so what? I don't even know. Like it's just going back and forth, and it's just like plotting and plotting and like how do I get them? But yeah, I don't know. I can't even, dude. I can't even. No, no. It's almost to the point when I see the scene come on, I'm like, oh. It's like it's always like this dark, dreary
Yes.
hole that they just went into to discuss
Yeah.
the I don't know, the charges that they're gonna bring against. And
Yeah.
like, but the
Well,
funny thing is they seem to never get anywhere.
no, it's
Like
great.
everyone's kind of like, dude, like, no, we're good. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, like Yusuf's like, what's wrong with healing a leper? Like they're like, it was on the Shabbat. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay. Well, like, even if it was, what person who got healed is gonna like turn in their healer?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Come on.
Basically, this whole journey you're on is kind of useless, man. You should just really drop it. Yeah, Shmuel, he is a man on a mission. Some might say, as the Blues Brothers once did, very well, on a mission from God, you might say. Yeah, he has a. We got to fulfill a certain prophecy here. We got to fulfill certain prevent events. So I guess, as silly as it is, I mean, things got to happen.
Yeah, I think I mean I want to look up Yusuf. Is this just a made up character?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't even know. Do they ever specifically name a Pharisee in the Bible outside of
Yeah.
Nicodemus?
Yes. Caiaphas.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to do some digging into
Yeah, I'll
that.
have to think into that. No, Caiaphas,
Excuse me.
Nicodemus. I just read a chapter somewhere. I don't remember, but they do. And so that's where I'm like thinking like what I want to re-go through and figure out like which ones,
Right.
which ones. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yusuf, he is just, or Shmuel is really like he's
Big
just,
dingus.
yeah, he is. He just won't stop. Won't
Yusuf.
stop, can't stop.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm so happy you did that. But we'll fast forward here, kind of, because his story, Shmuel, Yusuf, the PVU, and Andrew, their stories kind of intertwine as the episode plays out. There's a moment where Peter and Andrew are out on the boat trying to fish, and again, Andrew the spiral is getting more and more intense here. He's just really losing it on the boat. And this is where Peter is kind of the cooler head, the calming voice, trying to remind Andrew who he's following, who he's like worried about. And during this process, this is when Atticus, Gaius, and the Roman patrol come up to the beach.
Here come the redcoats.
Yes, Simon sees them approaching, so they kind of pull in their nets, try to get back to shore. Of course, they're kind of too late, but at this point, the Romans come. They confront Jesus. It's like not even. I mean, I guess it's a confrontation because they surround the group here, but really, it's guys like, "Are you Jesus?" And Jesus like, "Yep." And he's like, "All right, come with me." And he's like, "Okay, let me tell mommy bye," and then that's it. Yeah, Jesus willingly, peacefully goes with Gaius, and he, he's like tells his followers like, "Hey, don't worry, I'll be back. Like, just continue the planning and the preparation here for this big sermon. Don't worry about me. Like, I'll be back." And of course, they can't not worry about him because he's just been taken by the Romans, which is a pretty huge deal. While that is transpiring there, I shouldn't say while that's transpiring, because of that transpiring, when Peter and Andrew get to shore, they go to the camp, find out what's happened. This is where Andrew's spiraling like full force. He like lashes out at Mary for her like having her little moment those 2 days where she went into Jericho. That kind of, I guess, what they're complaining about probably held up their travels for a couple days. So I think where I'm going with this is like, because of Mary detouring the plans for that amount of time, they are where they are now, which is how the Romans found them. Is that kind of
what Andrew is kind of implying there?
Yeah, is that what you were thinking he's implying?
Oh, that's exactly what he's implying. Okay. He's like deflecting it onto her. Like now it's like, like for because it's almost like as if she did not do that, the Romans wouldn't have came, like,
right.
And so I don't know. They're definitely deflecting it onto her. And she's just kind of like, I think she
Rude.
takes it. Well, yeah, but no, she takes it well. And she's like, yeah, like I probably am this cause, but like you're missing the point, people.
Yeah.
Like he said he'll be back.
Yeah, exactly.
So like just do what you've been doing. He'll be back.
Right.
And so I would say like she does seem to have this level of trust that she didn't it's like when she first came, she was excited. She's transformed. It's like new. It's great. And then she is met with conflict, her own conflict. She spirals, goes out of control. And it's like within that conflict, what you build is you build trust within conflict. Like within a team, if you have a team of people and you have some conflict, if you come out of it good, you're going to build this like trust with each other because you've wrestled with it. And so like, I love seeing this picture of her. I'm actually, my screen is frozen on her. And she just has this like face of like, I don't know, like wisdom and like, but knowing, like, I don't know. It's just, she's just trusting in a way that she could have only trusted by going through that conflict that she did before. So I don't know, maybe this is like an indication of like Andrew might trust after this. Like he spirals and he's like, he's never going to come back. But then like here he is coming back when he said he was. But then I wonder how he's going to react when Jesus is like, hey guys, I'm actually not going to be coming back next time. Which is what he says to him later on. Actually, we'll get to that. But, and so, I don't know. That is definitely what Andrew's implying. He's just, but like you kind of said, he's projecting the John being captured, which he's not mad at John for walking straight into Herod's court and calling him
incest is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
But he's mad at Mary for going through a personal struggle and having him. So that's, he's clearly not thinking, and he's clearly just deflecting and projecting everything
Yeah.
he can on everyone else right now.
Well,
But
and like that kind of happens throughout the whole group in this little scene here too, because
yeah,
they all
who
start
yells
to
it?
bicker at everyone.
Somebody yelled Ema. Was it John?
Yeah, something I don't know,
They were,
like
she said something like boys, and he was like boys.
yeah, like Andrew's yelling at Mary, Simon says something, Matthew says something, then someone says something to Matthew, and then Mother Mary's like, "You guys are acting like idiots," and then John's like, "Boys, how dare you?" Yeah, so we get another around the campfire moment from the group here, um, which again just goes to show you like these are like I don't even know how many people are in this group at the moment in this scene, but like a dozen strangers coming together and trying to do life together. It's messy. And I
It
love that
sure
they
is.
show that and they don't portray this as like always perfect times, because I'm sure it wasn't. Uh, but yeah, so at this point, Simon Z is just like, again, just over there. He's like, well, we could always break him out. I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah. I'm going to find you, and I'm going to yes. Yeah, what is
Um,
that, Taken?
Taken,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
But eventually, somewhat cooler heads prevail. Philip is like, "All right, I'll go with Andrew." You know, I've I've gone to prisons plenty of times to get John out. Like, I know where we can go.
I know this.
Yeah, I know the
We're
routine.
good.
So Philip and Andrew, they go looking for Jesus in Jodapa. Again, I'm
I'm
probably
trying
saying
to
that
look at literally, I can it's almost like I can't even concentrate. No, I've been trying to figure out the pronunciation of this,
wrong. Oh, nice.
and it's yo
Ho-
yo this it's like ancient
it's like Yoda.
Yodfut?
Well, it's certainly not
Is
phonetic
the
then, 'cause
yeah,
that is not what it looks like.
go Gouda yeah, I think she okay, yeah, okay, all right. I think, Gou Gouda I think it seems like a I don't know. Gouda Gouda I
This episode of the Chosen
Yeah.
King series is brought to you by Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, so I have, taken 0 Hebrew classes yet, so
Oh,
maybe one
slacker.
day.
You
No,
slacker.
I don't even know, so I should yeah, we'll just move on that. Yes, so whatever you called it, um, and
Nice.
so
We'll call it Joey T. There we go.
Joey
But yeah, Philip and Andrew, they head over to Jodapa, and wouldn't you know, who do they see out professing of the wondrous miracles of Jesus? But Tamar and her paralyzed, no longer paralyzed, completely healed friend Ethan, which thank you for having an easy name to to say. Yes, they're out here in like the town center or like somewhere in town. She's telling the people who are there gathered, like, look, this is my friend. He was paralyzed like for so long since birth, like his whole life, and now he's walking. Jesus like healed him. This is crazy. And Andrew's like, hold on a second, like we can't have this. We can't be having this, because on their way into the city, they pass by all these crazy Pharisees, like so many Pharisees out in the streets, like praying and all this stuff. And Andrew is just like he had been yelling about all episode. He's so like paranoid that somebody is going to catch Jesus.
I pictured Andrew right now, I'm just going cracking up, like, he's just getting, like, more anxious and anxious, and every time something happens, his voice is getting a higher pitch going up. until he just hits this point of like snapping, like he just can't even, which
Yeah.
is so weird because it's like he wasn't. It's not like Jesus didn't get like tackled and like it just kind of went off, and like he is just losing it,
Yeah.
and like because he responded, yeah, to what was her name? I'm sorry,
Tamar.
Tamar, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like he's like, no, you gotta get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. He just walks up on their like little platform they're talking from, and he's like, can you stop, please? We gotta talk. Like, let's come over here." Because Tamar's like, "Oh, hey, it's you. You were there. You tell them." Like, he's like,
I know
"Please,
you.
please, just stop." But yeah, they kind of take them aside, and they're like, "Listen, Jesus was taken. Like, you can't just be going about like proclaiming all of the amazing things he's done." Um, and I kind of love Tamar. She's just like, "But how can I not? Like, after
Yeah,
seeing what I've seen, like, how
you
can I
can't
not tell
unsee that.
people?" Like, um, which is cool and respectable. But
Mhm.
I see where Andrew's coming from. Um,
And she's the person that Jesus said, "Your faith is beautiful."
mhm,
And like I loved that scene, the way that they kind of portrayed that, because you're gonna get that implication of somebody dropping, literally you cut somebody's roof, you're dropping in this paralyzed man in the thing. Like it's like you get everything but those words from scripture. So
mhm.
like when he said that, I was like, oh my goodness, I love that. I don't know. Your
Yes.
faith is beautiful. But yeah, yeah. I like her
Um,
response.
yeah, it's great. And then the rest of their Andrew and Tamar and
Mhm.
that group. We'll talk about the Jesus and Quintus scene after this, but basically, Shmuel and Yanni are going through town. They're asking about, if has anyone seen Tamar? They run into the the old the old man and the young aspiring priest or whatever, or Pharisee, whatever, from Wadi Kilt. They're like, "Hey, is that you, Shmuel?" And they're like, "What? Who? What?" Uh, They're like, "Are you guys looking for that Jesus dude? Because he came through our town and he like healed some dude in our synagogue on the Sabbath. Can you believe it?" And
Unbelievable.
yeah, and guess what? He even had woman followers. Are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah. And so Shmuel, of course, is like ecstatic. He's like, "Oh,
Um,
why did you send a letter?" I love it. But they're walking through on the hunt, close on the trail of Tamar. And we go back to Tamar, Ethan, Andrew, and Philip in the alley. And wouldn't you know, Yusuf comes up all disguised, not looking Pharisee like at all. He's wearing, normal people town garb. And he comes up and he's like warning them, or really Tamar, like, "Hey, you got to get out of here because Shmuel, that guy, that big dork, you know him. He's looking for you, and you should probably leave because he wants to question you about this Jesus guy." And while I love this line, it's so funny. Um, while he's warning them, he's also like insulting them at the same time, and I love it. He goes, "I personally do not care about your convictions, and your testimony is worthless, but you should probably get out of here."
you need to go. Yep,
Yeah,
no, it's
I
good.
love it. Um, but yeah, like, what do you think of Yusuf coming in and trying to be good guy Yusuf over here?
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. Like, why do that?
Yeah, and he
You
doesn't really
know?
say. He's like, "That's my
No,
business."
yeah, and it's like it has to be curiousness, right?
Mhm.
It
Oh, he does say, you know, he believes his rabbi, who was Nicodemus, saw
yep, that's it.
something
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remarkable
Okay,
in your master.
and he trusts
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, and Shmuel is threatened by that, and even worse, ambitious. Um, But yeah, so that's kind of his motive behind this. But either way, he comes up, he warns the group. Ethan kind of splits, and Tamar, you know, says she wants to come and follow Jesus. So um, Andrew, Philip, and Tamar, they head back to the camp. And that's kind of their journey here. And that just really leaves us with the Jesus Quintus scene and then Jesus returning to camp. And then that's pretty much the episode here.
Let's hit it. So he walks in, and here's just this big old smirk, just like he just yeah, I don't know. Quintus is what I mean.
Yeah,
And
he
so
just looks like a pinky. If a pinky was a human.
what a weird analogy,
Yeah. Now
So
you won't be able to unsee it.
yeah, no, I can't unsee it. What was that? What was that game? Earthworm Jim.
Dude, I love that game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Some old Nintendo, Super Nintendo games.
Yep.
I think that's what it was released on. But yeah, dude. So here he is. And so he talks about, he's like, did you meet Atticus? And he's just, I love Jesus in this scene. It's almost, the first time I watched it, I was like, man, this is cringy. Like, just because the way he responds is, it's for a second, you're like, is this like bad acting or something? I can't figure it out. But like, he's just so disinterested. Jesus, like the whole time. Like, it's like Quintus is so used to being like the lead role or wherever he is. That like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he's just so disinterested, just kind of sitting there like, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
like, it's almost,
he seems like a teenager who's being yelled at by their parents, and they're just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's like so non-responsive. I don't know.
Yeah, there were a few parts in the scene though that made me laugh that were kind of funny. We have Quintus at first being like, I was like half expecting you to be like, eating wild berries and wearing animal fur.
Like your cousin.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jesus is very passive.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, passive. It's, you know what it is? It's like, I think what kind of, it's like out of character. I think that's what it is for me, because he's not a passive person. He might be like, I don't know if you ever seen The Big Lebowski, pacifist. No, but he's not like that. He's just, it's like when Jesus talks about it, he's like, these parables are for like, so that people that are, I don't know, I can't remember the way he words it, but you know what I'm talking about when he talks about parables. He's like basically saying like, so the people that can't get it, right? Like, there's this level of like, I'm speaking in this way for you to interpret and to understand. It's almost like what he would typically do in this situation is like talk back in a way that is like beneficial to the other person, but he's not. And that's what I think is bugging me about it. It's because, not bugging me, but like, it almost seems out of character, because typically Jesus would be like, how can I help you?
Right.
See, but it's like, he doesn't even like, there's no willingness for the other to see through the eyes of him. So it's like, he's just like kind of just in shutdown mode. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like you see in the scripture when like he's
calling out Pharisees.
Yeah, confronted and like trying to be caught up in his words by the Pharisees and stuff, and he like turns it around on them, like you're saying, like, his answers are
Give to
basically
Caesar what's to Caesar's,
questions.
and
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
that's what, yeah, and it's just there's no there. He's just
Mm.
like, yep, okay,
Yeah.
yep, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Sucks to suck, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you make promises, I make promises. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't, and it's just that passiveness, like you said, and I just this like lack of like any bit of, it's like abdicating. Like he's very just like shut down, no challenge, no support to anything. He's just,
Mhm.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, I love the part though where he's like Quintus is like, if your race weren't so repugnant and odious, I'd offer you a job. He's like, I don't think I could take that as a compliment.
Uh-huh.
But no, like the basically Quintus is like, all right, you're like doing all these things that are causing headaches for me, but also you're doing all these things that like we've kind of been wanting to do. Like, you disarmed this crazy zealot guy and made him stop being a crazy assassin zealot. Like, awesome, because he was gonna kill Romans. Like, cool.
Mhm.
But you like took my top tax collector and now he doesn't collect taxes for me. And you kind of like caused this huge public disturbance and stampede where a bunch of property was damaged.
He's
Not cool.
comparing this to eating raw fish.
Yes.
Remember? So
Flesh and bones.
flesh and bones. Yeah.
So basically the end result is like
Don't make me kill
don't
you.
yeah, basically like just don't be a nuisance. Like I don't really care, just don't give me any more headaches and we're good.
Yeah. As
And
long as
yeah,
there's no more bones.
yeah, he does kind of threaten him a few times about, it's been like, well, I will kill you and don't make me kill you. And I love where I'm trying to get to it. What does he say? No more bones, Jesus. Follow me. No more draining my talent pool. Creating spectacles, crowds. It's got to be coming soon. No more meddling. Cannot promise any of these things, of course,
I do like that response.
And he says, then I cannot promise you won't stop breathing. And Jesus says, well, it sounds like we're clear on what we can and cannot promise. Okay, we're getting close. It's got to be, we're running out of time in the scene, so it's got to be coming. But yeah, basically Quintus says something like, just don't make me kill you. And Jesus says, I won't make you do anything. But my father, on the other hand, this is what actually like made me laugh out loud. Quintus like, I don't know what that means, but let's leave on a high note.
And we're done.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, it's just like his delivery of that was just so perfect because he's like, yeah, I don't even know what that means, but let's leave on a high note. So we're on the same page. See you later.
And Atticus is going to see you out.
Yeah. But
Man.
that's kind of the I see your point there with the passiveness. It's
I couldn't figure it out until like I had to work through it in our conversation here because I couldn't figure out why it was odd to me, like why the scene was, because it was just, it was literally, I was looking at it, I was like, either this is the most horribly acted scene or like the writing is bad or there's like a meaning here. And I think it's the latter. Like there's this meaning and I couldn't figure out why, because it was so out of place of him, so out of character. And so it really is like he's just kind of like just there is absolutely zero faith in there. There's no struggle with it, like the opposite end. There's no anything. It's like, I'm going to manipulate you nicely. And if you don't do what I say, like, we'll probably kill you,
Yeah.
And I'm going to smile the whole time.
Yeah,
and so it's just this, like, manipulation that I just think he's just like, I'm not even going to address you. I'm
Yeah.
going to just answer how I feel. Like, and he didn't even answer. He answered. I mean, he answered nicely, but like, he's like, I can't promise you anything.
Yeah.
And so he didn't like fully, he didn't like, submit to what he was saying. He
Yeah.
was challenging, but in that like turn your cheek kind of challenge, right? Like,
Yeah.
fine, I can't promise anything, but you could smack me here too. And there,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And anyone listening, if you if this scene made total sense and you're just like, guys, come on, it's this is what they're saying. Like, let us know. Leave us a comment. Let us know in Discord. I know both of us, Showboys and Nerdy Bible, both have our own Discords, and we both have a section in there where you can talk about The Chosen. And guess what? We're both in each other's Discords where we can talk about The Chosen. So
Yep,
join
yours is
one of
much
them.
more hopping than mine, but
Give it time.
we'll get there. Oh
Give
yeah.
it time. Join both and comment wherever you like. We'll see it and we'll talk about it. So yeah, let us know what you thought. If you could see the underlying message or meaning there in that scene, that'd be great. But you want to take us through the end here where Jesus returns back to the camp?
Yes, sir. Here Jesus is walking up. It's dark. They're back at camp, and the zealot Simon Z sees Jesus sees the foggy shadowed figure coming from the trees, and he runs up with the torch, and here
A
comes
wild Jesus has
Yes, a
appeared.
wild
Sorry, I've
Jesus
been
has
playing a lot of Pokemon lately.
And so Simon Z runs at him with the torch, and they hug him, and they're happy, and they're just so joyous to see him, and they're like, they just wanted to talk, blah blah blah. They get that out of the way, like it's Romans, whatever. But so what were you doing out there? That's the next question. John asks, what were you doing out there? Praying, John. And that's when it like, was it Simon? No, it's James, Big James. But it's like, dude, we've been worried sick about you. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's yeah, we were worried sick. I didn't think that's what he actually said. Did I? And that's where it gets back to. He's like, did I not tell you
Yeah, I
I
literally
would
told you.
be? I said I'd be back. And so I love this because he kind of just puts it into context for him, because we understand, I mean, what they went through in the rest of the gospels, and what they went through in Acts, and it's like this thing, and it's just like, he's like, you can't just go into chaos at like the split second of fear. Like, you can't just, and that is so applicable to just, I don't know, my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like every aspect. I mean, and so I think it's so easy, like you just get this ounce of fear, and you just let it, I don't know.
You
It's
turn
just
into an Andrew.
it's like no, but it's like it's like that seed parable. Like you plant a seed on a poor soil, and like, and that's what it is. You're planting like, the seed in this instance here is fear, right? So, and you can either allow it to grow into something, good, or it's on bad soil, and you're just like, now you're growing this bad fruit of whatever, Andrew, of what
Yeah.
Simon did when he was in fear, of Mary when she was in fear. And I don't know, I think this was I think that was
Well, it's on top of that, and like more applicable to the group. He's like, guys, like, I'm not gonna be here forever. Like, you guys got it. Like, I gave you a task that was very important, and like, it needs to be done regardless if I'm here or not. And like, someday I'm going to give you a task and I'm not going to be here and you're going to have to like see it through. I forget exactly like how he says that, but he starts to have that conversation of like, man, I was gone for like a couple hours, guys.
Yeah.
Like some
And
much rowdier things are about to happen.
things are going to get much harder. He says things are going to get much harder and you cannot just shut down with fear. Like, and so I think though too, like I think looking at their characters and how they responded, I mean, I think we're starting to see that development with Simon as that kind of broad, or Peter, I'm sorry, at this point I forgot calling him Peter. But like you see Andrew spiraling, you see James, Big James was like, yeah, I think actually this could work. When they were talking about earlier, like we have a zealot, we have this, like, why not? Simon Z's ready to go dig his knife back up in the water. You got who else? I mean, everyone's kind of just like, they're just going back to the old ways, like out of just, but Peter seemed like he was like the only one really that I was like, oh, like he's progressing. Like he's kind of like, he's like, Andrew, stop. He's like, everyone else, like kind of just like, let's chill. It's, he's just, for the first time, he seems to like the voice of reason. So I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like Philip's there and Peter is like ascending there. Like he's learning and he's progressing to the point of being a Philip.
But Philip wasn't, or no, Philip was there at that time. Yeah. Yeah. Because Matthew was there. Yeah. But yeah, so this is where we get the prayer. And so I think at this point, I liked it too, because, they're like, okay, so like, well, what do we do? Like, what do we do when we feel this way then? Pray.
Yeah.
And that's where he's like, they're making that connection. They're like,
yeah,
oh, that's where you were, like, teach us then. And he's like,
yeah,
finally.
he's like, yeah, you pray. And then one of, I forget which one, but they're like, oh, well, the Pharisees, they have like a prayer that they pray like in their traditional prayers or something, like every day. Like, is there something that we should be praying? Like, can you teach us to pray like you do? And then that's where we get it.
That's where we get it.
So yeah, go ahead. Continue on, sir.
No, that's it. He just starts it out.
I do like, so of course this is the classic
Lord's Prayer.
The Lord's Prayer, the capital the. And I love how they film this scene. They don't fully recite the whole prayer. Like he gives like the first line, and then he's like, when we pray, actually perfect timing. We want to be sure we start with acknowledging our Father in heaven and his greatness. So you can say, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Then we always want to be sure to do God's will and not our own. So we say, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And then like the camera is like kind of like panning out and their voices are getting fainter and fainter. So like he's continuing to walk them through it, but we're not sitting there listening to him go through every line. And then we get to the final scene here where Jesus comes into Matthew's tent, wakes him up, and he's like, hey, so this sermon, I've had a lot of thoughts floating around in my head, and I think it's time that we start organizing them. So of course Matthew's like, finally, let me get my writing stuff. Like I'm so ready for this. He's finally like, that's what he feels in his soul, I think, like his whole purpose. Like,
yeah, and then we'll
finally get useful.
I'm here. I'm ready to do it. And so I'm ready to organize them. And so this is where, I don't know, man. I'm excited to talk about this. Well, actually, we're recording the next episode tomorrow. So, but for you, it's like, I don't know who knows, somewhere in time. It's for you guys that are listening right now. It could be, I don't know, wherever you are in this world. I'm excited to break this next one down because we're going into the Sermon on the Mount, right?
Yeah.
And
The next episode's real good.
But we're also gonna, I don't know, like right here, there does Jesus need to wrestle with his sermon? And like, I have thoughts, my wife has thoughts, and we do not have the same thoughts.
All right, let's do this. Tomorrow, I will be the mediator. You and Lindsay debate.
Or, yeah, we'll get her on
season
here.
2 finale.
Okay.
No, yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I like here too, Matthew, where he's like, "Hey, you just kind of like got arrested. Like, is this sermon gonna make things better or worse?" And he's like, "Matthew, I'm here to make things better, not worse." And Matthew's like, "No, no, no. I mean, for all of us who love you," which I loved that. And Jesus kind of just looks at him and he's like, no promises. Just not exactly the most comforting thing that I would want to hear. But yeah, the next episode, I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, because it was literally, I just watched it right before, like, a week or so ago. So it was like, I'm excited. I'll probably rewatch it again tomorrow just to, I just watched it, but I'm, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. So
yeah, I'm excited. It'll be a good time. So I'm also excited that season 3 I'm finally gonna get to watch because I didn't get a chance to catch it in theaters. So I'm excited. That for me is in,
maybe
6
that's
days
why
away.
you're so excited to watch it. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So Mike here is going to be releasing a few episodes pretty early on his platform. I'm going to be I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to the original plan. And I'm releasing, each week one episode. So but that's why you're so ready, because you're excited to watch season 3.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. I don't know why I didn't process this.
No, and it's like I'm very excited. I was really bummed that I wasn't able to catch it in theaters, and I'm glad that the wait wasn't like an incredibly long time. It was
that it's actually out here.
2-3
We were
weeks,
not
maybe?
expecting it to come out this quick, or at least even the first 3. That's because you got this, the 11th, the 18th, and then Christmas is episode 3 that they're premiering. And so I have a feeling we'll have some weeks after that where there's not an episode, but we do have somewhere in there we're going to record if you're on my platform, you're going to have episode 8, and then hopefully right after that we'll have the Christmas special right around Christmas. So last year's 2021. Yeah. So it's technically season 2 episode 9. That's what it is. But yeah, the messenger, I think is what it's called. Yeah, the messenger.
I don't know if you can
the
see.
Shepherd and then the messenger.
Got a little Christmas tree right there behind me.
Yeah, I need to add some. I do have Christmas lights.
Yeah,
but
I do like lights.
I also, I don't know, I haven't told you about this. I caught a cat. So I've been feeding this cat for it's a long story, but I had a cat that got really sick.
It's not Daniel?
No, it is Daniel. I caught Daniel.
You caught him?
I caught him.
He lives in your house now?
Dude, yes. On Thanksgiving, I caught this cat. I set up this trap. And so just to give anyone that's listening a little reference here, I had a cat. She got very sick and passed away pretty early, not expecting it. And that day, later afternoon, I look outside my window and there's just this cat just sitting there staring at me. And I'm like, what in the world? And, of course you buy your food in bulk. So I got all this cat food, so I fed this cat for 4 months or so. And here it is winter. And I'm like, I'm going to catch this cat, give it a home. So set the trap every day. He doesn't come and he doesn't pull it. I set it on Thanksgiving. And here we are. I had to drive all the way to leave the dinner because I heard I caught this cat outside. So brought him in. His name's Daniel. He's hiding right
Definitely
now,
not after your pastor, right?
but yeah, no. And funny thing is our I named so I first saw this cat like a year before this, a
Mhm.
year or so before, I don't know, sometime before this. Then he disappeared. And then, at first I was like, man, Daniel, I think Daniel, it's a good name. Well, and then we started going to a church that, the pastor's name is Daniel. So
Yeah, it's not weird at
got
all.
no, not weird at all. I did Marco Polo him, Daniel.
Nice.
And I said, Daniel, meet
Hey,
Daniel.
Daniel. I
So
also love it when people give their pets human names.
I
It's the funniest thing ever. I love it.
yep. So yeah, he's hiding over by the furnace. He's just still
Nice.
kind of he's
Nice and
come.
warm.
I got a Ring camera set up, so it's like as soon as the house is quiet, he comes trotting around, moving. So now it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool little dude.
Uh,
But yeah,
our wiener dog, who is a little over 2 years old, I think. I forget when his
uh,
birthday is. But originally his name was Oscar, which was
yeah,
adorable and cute. Oscar Mayer
Meyer.
Wiener,
Uh-huh.
wiener dog, plus human name, plus like old man name is just perfect. And my wife was like, "Yeah, we're changing that. His name shall be Milo." And I was like,
Milo.
"What?
Milo and Otis?
Why? This is literally
Wasn't
the
Milo a cat?
perfect name." I I can't
Milo and
remember.
Otis. Wasn't Milo the cat?
It was either the cat or the dog. You got 50-50 shot there.
Thank you for the probability.
We've drugged
Oh,
this on way too long, but yes, be on the lookout here for the Christmas episode, which should be coming out probably
Milo's the
around
cat.
Christmas. Milo's the
Def-
cat.
yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah, I think we'll be putting out the Christmas special shortly after Christmas
Mhm.
on the Showboys platforms. If you're familiar with our companion series, the way we like to do it is get our episodes out as quickly after the airing of the episode we're covering. So what that means is these final season 2 episodes for us will be coming out this weekend, probably on Friday and Saturday, or
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday. And then we have a week off. James is going to be out of town, so we'll be recording
Going to Disney World.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas. That's going to be super fun for you. I'm really excited.
Yeah. I'm gonna lose it when I see Goofy.
I was not expecting that, but that's awesome.
I am a big fan of the Goof Troop. So honestly, my wife got these tickets for. I'll make this brief, but for my birthday, and I wake up in the morning. I come downstairs. I think I might actually told the story.
I think
Now that
you
I think
did. I
about it.
don't know if it was during an episode or not, but I remember you telling me.
Okay.
But you should
Yep.
continue to tell it anyways.
Goofy playing Goof Troop. I love the show. It's fantastic. Goof Troop playing. There's a Mickey balloon. There's all this, and I'm like, what in the world? And I kind of looked at her. I'm like, this is kind of cruel, dude. Like I've never been to Disney, and here you go. And then she gives me this awesome Disney pop, and it's like Goofy riding on Dumbo. And again, I still didn't process it. I'm like, okay, dude, this is getting ridiculous. And then inside of it was a note from Goofy. So
Nice.
I think it was like something like yuck kind of thing. Like, so you're gonna want to delete that. But yeah, no. So going to Disney World.
That's awesome.
And
It'll be cool.
Hollywood Studios. So
Hey, that sounds fun.
yeah.
You'll have to take a lot of pictures.
Hollywood Star Wars stuff. So I'm gonna see all the.
Have you watched Andor yet?
No, nope. I'm caught up on all the other. Well, never made it through Boba Fett. Just stopped. I know.
Okay.
Just call me whatever. But
no, it's okay.
On
that was a big.
Andor, I haven't made it to it yet. It's like on my list to watch this Christmas break.
Best Star Wars series, no question about it.
Really?
Yes, it's fantastic. And then after you watch it, listen to our episode that we did last week because we talked about it for 2 hours. It was amazing. So with that being said, season 3 for Showboys will be coming out probably the week of the 20th. So look out for that. Check out thenerdybible.com and all the fun stuff James is doing over there. Head over to showboysmedia.com and check out all the goofy, weird stuff that we do and talk about, like video games and shows like Andor.
Yep.
And thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, rate, review, follow wherever you listen to this at, and tell your friends. Season 3 is coming out. That's crazy. This is
Yeah.
what we've been building up to this whole time. It's finally
Absolutely.
here.
Well, and we'll finally be like caught up.
Yes.
I think that's the exciting thing, is like it'll finally be like this. Here's the new episode. I'm gonna run and skip down the street, and then we're gonna do a podcast. Like.
Yes, I love it.
Man.
There is that too, definitely, for me and you. That's going to be an amazing feeling. But yes, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Until then, have a great evening, night, morning, afternoon, lunch, nap. I don't know. Bye.
Shalom.